What is up, ladies and gents of the two genders that are out there in the world? We are back with another episode of Isaac of the Dead. It's been a while, and I'm a little busy. I'm a busy bee. I'm making my album. I'm staying on top of it. Got my 6 classes this semester, but trust me, y'all, I'll try to keep y'all updated with as much content as I possibly can at whatever times. Low effort content will come just to keep y'all satisfied and make sure that my mental health doesn't melt under the pressure. But I'm here to talk about something very, I guess, identifiable with my channel. We are called Isaac of the Dead, after all. And one of the things that was a big topic on my channel, one of the things that blew up later, when I started making these TV show reviews, was the Walking Dead stuff. So I started reviewing the Daryl Dixon show, which I actually didn't mind. I actually thought I was going to not like it, but I ended up liking it way more than I realized. I'm not saying it's great, but it's okay in terms of like what The Walking Dead is now. But I guess that's the topic of today's video, is the state of The Walking Dead. See, this last Sunday, at time of recording, the Sunday before I made this video, The Walking Dead released its new spinoff show called The Ones Who Live, right? It's going to be called The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Lived. A really long title. I'm not a huge fan of the long title, but whatever. And for those who don't know, whether you've, seen The Walking Dead before, whether you quit, dropped out, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to try and break it down best I can. Season 9 of The Walking Dead, Episode 5. Rick Grimes, the main show's character, all right? He leaves the show. Andrew Lincoln, the actor, requested that he take a little sabbatical, left the show, right? And they, spoiler warning, they tried to kill him off, but they decided they weren't going to kill him off. Instead, they were going to take him away from the show for a while, and he would not be a part of the narrative for a couple of years. Well, those couple of years have been, let's see, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It's been 7 years. It's about 7 years. I mean, close to 7 years, 6.5 years just about since that episode aired. And for 7 long years, 6 to 7 long years, we have not had any answers about where Rick Grimes was or what he was doing or why he could not go back to his family. And they did a time jump in the show. So honestly, the amount of time it took for them to make this show happen is the same amount of time that Michonne in the regular show took to find Rick. Because there is a time jump in the main show between that episode 5 and episode 6, of about 6 years. Because even Judith grows up, right? I know for some people who quit watching the show, this is all big news, big spoilers for y'all. If not, it doesn't matter. But it's been a fucking long time since we actually got the last time we saw Rick Grimes. Now, I haven't seen much of what Andrew Lincoln has done outside of The Walking Dead since then. I assume he goes to visit his family in the UK or wherever he's from. But I'm not here to talk about private lives. I'm here to talk about The Walking Dead as a whole, as a collective. See, whenever they killed off Carl in Season 8, that might have been one of the biggest mistakes the Walking Dead franchise has ever made. And they tried to do it for clicks, which was not a good idea. And then on top of that, getting rid of their main lead character was also not a good idea, because Rick Grimes was the heart, soul, and face of The Walking Dead. Now, certainly, Daryl stepped up to carry the show much longer after that. And the Whisperer War, I was a big fan of the Whisperers. I don't think that, if you were to leave the Walking Dead in the hands of me, personally, I would have ended the show at Season 8. I would have ended it on the all-out war timeline, would have, stopped after Negan and continued the Whisperers, the Commonwealth, all that in Fear the Walking Dead on the other spinoff show, right? But instead, they decided to continue on, and it wasn't as great as it was before, and all started with that decline around the Negan time. Now, all this is for another video, another day. I'll try and break it down another time, but that's just my thoughts on that. But now that this new show has come out, and I've been one of those people who's been hanging on to The Walking Dead for a very, very long time, and it's been a struggle, certainly as a fan. Now, I'm not going to say that it's been a struggle being a fan of okay, let me explain, right? I don't have time to sit here and watch all these shows. I'm doing it for content now at this point. I would have quit The Walking Dead a long time ago if I knew there was no plan, right? But I had faith. I had a sunk investment into this. I was going to see it through, right? I'm not saying like, oh, it's like going in the coal mines. I'm just turn on a video, just turn on a camera, just making a video. I'm actually enjoying having the privilege to watch something for a YouTube channel or enjoy something that I can get out of it. I'm not trying to shill. I'm not trying to sound like a little bitch when I say that it was a struggle to be a fan, but it's no different from being, struggling to be a fan of Disney Star Wars or struggling to be a fan of the MCU. That's the kind of struggle that I'm talking about here. But it's not like it's, I'm not starving or anything, right? Like I'm not like, going out in the coal mines to mine for gold or coal or so whatever, like I'm not trying to make that comparison because I'm not fucking Hassan Piker. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to get at is The Ones Who Live aired this previous Sunday, and I have not seen it yet. Now, that is not for lack of trying. It's just that I've had a lot going on. 6 classes, album stuff. But I do intend to break down this show because it's a show I've been waiting for a very long time. I have had a lot of vested interest. The only reason I have still watched The Walking Dead for this long is because of Rick Grimes, because of Michonne, because of characters that I actually care about, all right? And I've seen the Daryl Dixon show. I know y'all know my thoughts on that. But I wanted to make more reviews on some of the other stuff, like Tales of the Walking Dead, which I fucking hated. I thought Tales of the Walking Dead was awful. It was stupid. Never want to watch it again. Hopefully, if there's a season 2, I hope it's actually decent. I hope they do something interesting with it. But season 1 was fucking garbage, okay? But I took about a year, right? I hadn't caught up on the final 8 episodes of the main Walking Dead show, the one that ended, right, at season 11. I had missed those last 8 episodes, and I thought I was going to hate them, but I went back to watch them, and I was like, they're actually not that bad. I mean, they're not great, but, like, I didn't hate watching it, right? And I was like, you know what? This Commonwealth story actually isn't bad, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. And, yeah, I might make another video on that soon, but the thing is, it's so... You need this Rick Grimes show, because The Walking Dead can't truly end without Rick Grimes. When you kill off his son, when you kill Carl, you killed the future of the franchise, and you had to leave it in the hands of Judith, which we're not even 100% sure we're behind that character yet, because her whole, like, character development happened in a time when people weren't watching. When the majority of the cultural fingerprint that The Walking Dead left was gone during that time, right? The Walking Dead used to be one of the biggest shows, right up there with Game of Thrones at the time and Breaking Bad. A lot of people really like The Walking Dead. And then the more I go around and see people talking about The Walking Dead, every person I know says they either stopped watching when Glenn died, or they stopped watching when Carl died, or when Rick left the show. That's when people stopped watching, and they missed a lot of good stuff, I think, but they didn't miss too much, because there was a lot of filler in those, like, 2 or 3 seasons that Rick was gone, right? There was a lot of filler. And so the cultural fingerprint of The Walking Dead it's dead. It's like a zombie itself, non-meta. It's like a metaphysical, it's unironically a dead show, a zombie show that is continuing to go when the fan base is damn near non-existent, because I can't even talk to random people on the street because they don't know, they haven't seen it, they haven't been caught up on it in a long time. But at least The Ones Who Live could pique somebody's curiosity, because if they stopped watching when Rick left, they'd be like, oh, is he back now? Should I catch up on Netflix or something? And that brings out that interest. So I thought I would come on here and say that, yes, for this channel, I will be covering The Ones Who Live, because there's no way I wouldn't. I was preparing for the day that I would have to cover it. I just didn't think that I'd be covering it before Dune Part 2 came out. I didn't think that was going to happen, but here we are. So I still have not seen the first episode yet. I intend to watch it probably in groups. So probably first 2 episodes I'll review together, because I do have a friend that I'm going to be watching it with every Sunday. And then I'll probably make reviews after that. So episode 1 and 2 I will watch together. I'll make reviews on those together just to save a little bit of time for myself. because I do have a lot going on. I don't know if I've stressed that enough, but probably the next 2 episodes or 2 or 3 episodes, all that, because I think there's about 6 episodes in total, and I'm going to try and group them together into different little chunks and review them that way. And that brings me to the 2 other shows. So I have not seen Dead City yet with Negan or Maggie. I have not seen that show yet, and I'm holding off on that just for time's sake, right? I know I could probably finish it in a weekend, but I'd rather just, I got other things I need to do. Because I'm watching, like, One Piece. I'm watching, what else was I watching? I don't know, Jack Reacher. I'm watching a bunch of shows that I'm trying to, find the right time for. Plus, catching up with pro wrestling on my own personal time, because I'm a fan of pro wrestling. There's so much time I'm trying to chunk out and, trying to handle responsibilities. What's going to work for my escapism time, all that fun stuff. You know how it's like being a big fan like that. Sometimes you just gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them. But there's also homework that I gotta do, which is basically, and when I mean homework, I don't mean just school homework. I mean homework for my channel, which is watching these episodes, breaking them down, maybe writing scripts for videos, and then making the videos and editing them. And so there's a lot of work that does go into that, but I am grateful for it. I'm grateful that I get to do this. It's a great hobby, I'll tell you what. Great hobby. But hopefully one day I'll get paid for it. We'll see. I am making an album, so y'all can check that out. But on The Walking Dead, on the state of The Walking Dead, Dead City I've not seen. I heard it was okay to mid. I don't know. Haven't seen it. Can't judge it. Okay? Now, I wasn't super impressed by the trailers for it, but at least it's got Negan. So you have my 2 cents for Negan. Now, this is where the real problems come in, because Tales of the Walking Dead was garbage, and I will tell you straight up, it was garbage. One of the worst Walking Dead products I've ever seen, I think. Not undersold, I guess. Is it undersold? Is that the right word? Well, not to be outdone is the right thing I was going to say. Not to be outdone by Fear the Walking Dead's final 8 episodes, because I actually watched Fear the Walking Dead's ending before I watched the main Walking Dead show's ending, which kind of white-pilled me a little bit. Because when I watched Fear the Walking Dead's ending, and I will make a full video on this, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead is phenomenal. I love Season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead. Season 2, take it or leave it. Season 3 to 4... most of Fear the Walking Dead is filler. It's filler for characters you're either going to love later down the line or you're never going to meet again. And that's the kind of the problem with The Walking Dead, overall. They had no plan for Fear the Walking Dead, and it kind of ended like shit. It was terrible. Now, if they had found a way to merge Fear and the regular Walking Dead shows together, imagine how great that would be. And I keep saying this, but I do intend to make a video on that. Because think of that. Think of how great that would have been if they had gotten Rick and the gang, Carol, Daryl, Morgan, everybody, and crossed over with Madison, Alicia, Nick, Strand. They actually got all these characters combined into one place and had several seasons with them interacting with each other based off of how they've interacted with themselves alone before, right? You know what I mean? But because they never went with that, because they never followed up with that sort of interconnectivity and that sort of narrative storytelling, something creative and interesting, they kind of fumbled the ball with the final season of Fear. And I'll go into more detail in another video, but Fear the Walking Dead made me hate their show. If I were to tell somebody, okay, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Am I right, ladies? If I were to talk to people and say, okay, if somebody asked me, okay, would you recommend The Walking Dead? I would say, yeah. I would say season 1, greatest season of The Walking Dead ever, unquestionably. Season 3 comes really close to beating season 1 because the governor's storyline, I love that shit. I loved it. Season 4 and 5, that's the peak of the show. That's when you start getting to that's when your investment starts kicking in. Now, season 6 and 7 is where it starts to get a little bit rougher to watch because that's when they started fucking up. That's when they started fucking up. by isolating episodes on certain characters that, left with cliffhangers each time that you didn't get a payoff for until the mid-season finale, which was a really stupid way of doing it. But season 6 and 7, it's the kind of work you have to get through in order to get the big payoff, which is season 8. Also has a lot of those same problems. But ultimately, that's where the show should have ended, was on the finale of season 8. Now, if you're still sticking around after season 8, which I don't blame you if you're not, that's the perfect ending for the show, I would say that it's probably a good time to, be patient for Rick, because his show just came out. So if you're talking to me, like as if we were talking right now, I'd say, yeah, you probably don't have to wait very long to see what happens to Rick. But the Whisperer War, the Whisperer storyline, pretty good. I like the Whisperer storyline. Does it waste a lot of time? Yeah, there's a lot of filler, but I didn't hate it. I actually liked it. And I think the Whisperers would have been perfect for Fear. They had adapted the Whisperers comics into the Fear the Walking Dead universe. That would have been, not universe, but Fear the Walking Dead, show. That would have been perfect. It seemed like they were setting that up too. And then do the same thing with the Commonwealth, because after season 9 and 10, it starts to dribble off into like filler. And then it's not until the final 8 to 16 episodes that it actually starts getting kind of interesting and kind of, narratively pleasing again. And so, but that's, at least I could say the ending is digestible for the main Walking Dead show. Now, if somebody were to ask me alternatively, how would you recommend Fear the Walking Dead? I would say skip it. Skip Fear. The ending of Fear the Walking Dead made me say, yeah, the entirety of this 7-season show is not worth it. What happens to Morgan whenever he leaves Alexandria? Not even important anymore. Not even important. We're going to have to wait and see if he shows up again in the Walking Dead universe to see if I could recommend Fear to people. But as it stands, as of recording, as of right now, I can't recommend Fear to anybody because it wasn't very good. For all the good things that Fear did, it never had a narrative through line that kept the show on a certain path that made the ending worth it. The ending was the most cluttered, most horribly written, horribly acted, and horribly edited, 6 to 8 episodes of a TV show I've ever seen. And it's hard to fuck up that bad. It was like Game of Thrones finale level fuck up. It was, and the treatment of it is I'll go into it in another video on Fear the Walking Dead, but the truth is, the absolute state of The Walking Dead relies on Rick Grimes right now. Because I don't know what the TV numbers are. I assume they're low, but the cultural fingerprint of The Walking Dead is almost irrelevant. And what it comes down to is there is no Rick Grimes. And Rick Grimes is the reason people were watching, is the reason they will be watching The Ones Who Live, hopefully. Hopefully we'll get some answers from The Ones Who Live. Oh shit, I didn't even mention World Beyond. Oh shit, I forgot about World Beyond. That's how fucking irrelevant that show was. Oh my shit. Oh, yeah, The World Beyond was terrible. World Beyond was terrible. I watched season 1 of World Beyond. I hated it, so I skipped out on season 2. I thought it wasn't worth it, so I said, fuck it, I'm out. I ain't watching that. But for the point that I'm trying to drive home here, for every good thing The Walking Dead has done, there's been so much garbage that we've seen. The ending of Fear, Tales of the Walking Dead, World Beyond, all in all. Big filler episodes of the main show and Fear. Dude, there's so much wrong with The Walking Dead's universe right now. It's not perfect. It was never supposed to be perfect, but it's not exactly, without flaw either. You know what I mean? It's... the Ones Who Live, I believe, is going to be the last straw for me. We're going to have to wait and see how it goes. If they can loop me into a conversation of getting back into the Walking Dead universe, getting invested in these characters again, perhaps I'll stick around and I will cover it the whole time for my channel. But the absolute state of The Walking Dead relies on The Ones Who Live to be the narrative through line for the future. Because Fear the Walking Dead was a flop, in my opinion. And The Walking Dead show, you could say that it ended after 11 seasons, but did it ever really end if all the characters still exist in spin-off shows? So it all hinges on the ones who live. Will it be good? Will it be utter shit? We're going to have to wait and see, because I'm going to watch it. I intend to watch it. I intend to cover it. And I'm a huge fan of Rick Grimes. I'm a huge fan of The Walking Dead. I intend for this to be something that hooks me back in, something that brings me joy again for The Walking Dead. But there's only so much I can do, because I'm starting to invest into One Piece and Doctor Who and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, stuff that I haven't seen yet that I can invest more time in. But we'll only have to wait and see if The Walking Dead recovers. Narratively, at least. I don't know if they're going to recover culturally, but at least narratively they can recover from the damage that has been done to this franchise. So we'll just have to wait and see. Hope you all have a good day. This has been Dizek of the Dead. Don't smoke crack. Don't hurt yourselves. Don't hurt each other. Be nice to each other, I guess. Drive safe. Wear a seatbelt. Or don't. Whatever makes you happy. Because then I'm going to be watching The Walking Dead to try and be happy. All right, go away.